Okay, so hi everybody. I'm Paulo. I'm going to give an update on what's the current state of the LiveKit integration into BigBlueButton. Since in the last summit, we've mostly worked on getting it feature complete and into 3.0 as an experimental feature. And since then, the goal was taking all that was integrating, put it for real testing, and getting it production grade, at least as stable as what we have right now. So where we are at right now is doing field trials, which means real user testing, and improvements based on what those field trials yield us. So largely currently improvements on the client side and recording. Regarding the field trials, we've conducted field trials since at least February, using BB 3.0 plus LiveKit. It's not a pure 3.0, it's 3.0 with a bit of the 3.1 branch and some extra fixes that to the LiveKit stuff that haven't been merged yet. So real users, real load. The goal was to capture information, as much information as we could for detailed analysis later. And based on that information, iterate rapidly and see what works, what doesn't. And we have an open pull request targeting 3.0 that should be merged sometime soon, which actually contains most of the fixes and improvements we've figured out in that period. So here's an example of that field trial. Again, as I mentioned, is 3.0 LiveKit enabled plus patches. This example here is a 5-day period. Here we have audio data. So the CSAT field here is basically a user satisfaction score based on user submitted feedback. And then we have the audio joint and audio joint failure, which roughly gives us an error rate. So here we have roughly 6% error rate for the LiveKit stuff, and this is after a lot of iteration and patches. And the interesting thing is that when you compare these to the field trial running the default media setup, which is this one, so 3.0 plus patches, but using just the default media stack, we have a very similar user satisfaction score here. Again, it's a 5-day period. It's exactly the same time frame, same servers, same environment. So audio join is roughly the same, and the error rate is also very similar. It's a bit higher on the default setup, but it's under the error margin, I'd say. So that's actually a good sign, because we expect when LiveKit is introduced for real users, it's fully production grade. We expect it to just work, and since it's basic stuff, users should just not have to complain about it not working. So further results from the field trials, the client side is mostly stabilized, again with the pull request I mentioned before. There are likely still edge cases to tweak still. Again, we are tracking user feedbacks, we are tracking logs, we see some edge cases here and there, like I can't hear someone or someone else, but those will be adjusted as time goes on. And then the other result was on the recording side. We've been using the LiveKit's egress application to do LiveKit recording. We discovered that it did not fit what we need for tracking recording as well as we'd hope. It works, but it could be better. So what came out of those field trials is that we pivoted a bit and we decided to use our own recorder, so BBlueButton recorder, as a track recorder for LiveKit streams. So the idea here is that it will be more efficient and simpler, mainly because egress is a large application. It does a lot of cool stuff, and track recording is just a subset of what it does. And so for that, it uses GStreamer, it uses a lot of stuff, which we don't necessarily need for our use case. So by doing this, it will be easier to iterate upon and extend. It will be easier to identify problems if they arise, and it will be more efficient. And by efficiency, I'm talking about server-side efficiency, CPU, memory, etc. And for that, we already are doing internal testing. It's implemented in the respective applications development branches, so both WebRTC Recorder and WebRTC SFU. Those changes are largely compatible with what we have in 3.0. Doesn't change any of the default stuff, and it should land into 3.0 as new tags soon, I hope. And as a bonus for this process, we are dedicating some time to generate metrics, statistics, and information about recorded capture files. So we know, like from now on, we can actually generate quality metrics and issue metrics and understand when there's a regression in the recording process or when there's a problem in the capture process. So the transitioning from recorder to another will be a more smooth process, and we will have more visibility. So what's next? After recording is fully stabilized and things near production grade, there's still some finishing touches to two functionalities we need to do, which is basically dial-in integration, which is mostly implemented, but it's not documented and are fully compatible with how people use dial-in nowadays in BigBlueButton. So it's something that needs further adjustments. Also needs some finishing touches in the audio-only breakout room transfer with LiveKit, and then it's just keep on iterating upon real usage and the data we gather and trying to make it as solid as we can. And that's it.